So, I'm browsing through Twitter today, looking at a couple of people that I follow from Europe. I follow Count Dankula and all them, and Sargon on YouTube, so I had already known that Count Dankula had joined UKIP. I knew that there would be some outrage because of who he is, but I didn't realize the sheer idiocy. Now, I can't put up all the stuff. You'll have to just look it up on Twitter for yourself, because I record my videos from a phone. The beautiful thing was they immediately attacked him. It's the same thing with Sargon, and Paul Joseph Watson, who, I mean, it's hit and miss. People like him, people hate him. I think Paul Joseph Watson's a pretty smart guy, as I do with Sargon and Count Dankula. Now, from what I can gather, they're essentially planning a coup d'etat. Not really like they're trying to rip the leadership and cut the jugular of the leaders of the party and start fresh. I think that they more along the lines, it's like people stuck between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. This reference is for Americans who can't understand. The rest of you in Europe, I mean, I'm not even going to explain it to you. The reasons are evident if you just look at it. I might be an outsider looking in, but I follow everything. I consume as much media from Europe as I can. So people who voted for Trump didn't necessarily vote for him because they agreed with everything he's saying. Especially because you take into account the fact that Donald Trump could not have gotten elected without a large amount of white voters that voted for Barack Obama. But I think very key issues spoke to those voters. And I think this is what you're seeing with these YouTubers that are joining UKIP. And if you look at Sargon said it great in a live stream yesterday morning. And that was essentially that the Tories, the conservatives, they're left wing, and then every major political party within the UK is leftist, and then you have UKIP, and some idiot was trying to debate the fact that it's a far right, bigoted, hateful party, which again is debatable, but I think a lot of it has to do with the desire to preserve British identity. And I don't see anything wrong with that. But anyways, the absolute outrage that I'm seeing from people is palpable. Because it's fine for your people to express extremist values because you agree with them. The Labour Party and all these lunatics that are, even Antifa, it's fine to make excuses for them. But when people that are right of center or, just barely left of center do anything, you have a fucking meltdown. And it's absurd. It's childish. I mean, I knew the left was, full of children. I didn't realize that it was that bad. No, I'm glad they did it. And I hope they do everything in their power to motivate their user base to move them into UKIP. I see it as a great opportunity to have a more left-leaning or liberal-leaning UKIP that can still be anti-immigration, and trade protectionists. That's what you're going to need in this, especially with Brexit. So, no, I hope they do, and I think it's silly And the hate that they got for it wasn't even coherent. You weren't arguing points. The fact that they care about these issues doesn't make them racist or bigoted or whatever. They care about issues. These are issues that, and even if the BBC and the Guardian and all of them can pretend that there's not a problem in Europe, okay, they can pretend all they want, but the rest of the world, if you read the media from virtually every other country, looking in, there's a huge problem. There's a problem that everybody else sees, and for some reason, it's like Brits are like, what problem? As they're being ran over by vans, or their kids are being raped by grooming gangs. And it's the most absurd thing in the world, because the whole rest of the world, I'm not just talking about America, because obviously people are going to, all the liberals, all the lefties are going to be like, yeah, America, they're just bigots. But everybody, people in Australia, people, from all over the world looking in are like, why are they just sitting there letting this happen? Why is the average citizen of the UK making excuses for this shit? So you have a group of people that have legitimate concerns, legitimate concerns that everybody else around the world finds as legitimate, and the left is just so comfortable with the idea of going, no, those aren't legitimate concerns. That's called racism or xenophobia or bigotry, whatever buzzword they want to attach to it today. It's so dumb. And obviously I don't agree with everything Sargon of Akkad and Count Dankula and all of them believe, because I'm an open right-winger. I'm much more conservative, and I am a religious man, so, I don't agree with them on everything. But I don't see anybody debating them on fact or points. Like, I see one guy his response to Count Dankula is to call him ugly. Not to rip apart his points, not to debate him on policy, none of that. You're ugly. Some Hussein fella. No wonder they want you deported. It's just gotten to the point where I'm glad, reading the horror stories of all of Europe, but the UK, who has the best chance of setting the stage for the toppling of the European Union, which they absolutely should. You absolutely should topple the European Union, and then you trade with people that are in line with you, instead of everybody coming along and saying some unelected bureaucrat somewhere is making the rules for your country. That's absurd. That's absurd, and that's exactly how you get tyranny. That's exactly how you end up with these archaic free speech laws, because everybody's thinking with their feelings, and it's the most bizarre thing to me. Like and even for me, I'm only 27, but growing up, I remember the days where it wasn't that big of a deal to just sit around and insult each other. Like when I was in boot camp, I had a buddy. His name was Cox. And young black guy. And that was what we did all day. We told racial jokes about each other. We told gender jokes, sexual orientation jokes about each other. And it built a bond. And our whole barracks did it. The Hispanics, the Muslims, everybody. We all did it to each other. And it was funny. And it built a bond. Because you joke about something, it's in a way accepting that person. So it is no surprise that people like Sargon of Akkad, who's an outright and admitted liberal, classical liberal, Count Dankula and Paul Joseph Watson, find that even though they might not agree with everything about UKIP, that it's more in line with their beliefs. And you're going to find that the vast majority of citizens of the UK are going to start to feel that way. They're going to be like, it's not just America whose politics are polarized. It's the entirety of Europe. It's the entirety of the Western world. And it's not Russia. It's not, Nazis. It's the establishment politicians who shove their respective agendas down people's throats. They never do anything to fix situations. They just let them run rampant. And people are sick of it. So they will vote to burn the fucking world down before voting for the establishment. It's working out well in America. And all of you out there, I'm sure I'll get lots of hate. It's working out just fine for us. Our economy's booming. Companies, the Secretary of the Treasury of Australia was so nervous about our tax cuts stealing business away from Australia. We're doing just fine. And I strongly urge my friends across the pond to do it. Fight. Vote anything that the establishment hates. Anything. Vote for it. Because they're out to hurt you. They're out for control. They don't care about British identity. They don't care about the average working Brit. They only care about their pocketbooks and the pocketbooks of their overlords and their puppet masters. That's all they care. Their little group of friends. And it's time to put it to rest. You should have every Western civilization, every Western country should have the fundamental right to speak their mind and have that protected. No matter what it is they're saying, as long as they are not promoting violence against another person, as long as they're not out there actively encouraging people to commit violence right then and there, they should have every right, even if it's repugnant, even if it's disgusting, to say it. And I applaud Count Dankula, I applaud Sargon of Akkad, and I applaud Paul Joseph Watson and what they're doing. And I can't wait to continue watching their videos and seeing what happens. Thank you.